Hi, everyone. I feel like Greg underestimated how long a minute actually was. He said a minute, and 5 seconds later, suddenly we're live. It was amazing how that worked out. So I was incredibly unprepared, but we're here now.
I promise to be more precise in
Thank
2
you.
weeks when I'm
Thank
back from vacation. And Mission is going on vacation?
I think Greg's going on vacation, but he's here now. I'm here. We have a couple of great presenters here today as well, so might as well get this kicked off. We want to discover the best day to trade. Now, before we get too far into the presentation, I want to cover the legal stuff, of course. This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of our software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. And we're moving on. Today is a beautiful day. It's a sunny day in Salt Lake City, Utah. Some of us still working from home. I hope everyone in the audience is safe and doing well. Today we have a very, very special presentation. It's a double header. We actually have 2 presenters today, 2 great presenters. Number one, Jeff Tompkins, who we've actually worked with for quite a long time now. He's the author of the Trade Trend add-on. After Jeff, Mr. Daniel Sinnig, who has created Portfolio Architect, which now is in its 2nd iteration, I believe, Portfolio Architect 2.0. The reason that we have 2 presenters today is this is a unique situation where we have 2 systems that actually work really, really well together. So these guys have actually done quite a few webinars and live trading sessions together so far. So we thought it would be good to give you guys in the audience the opportunity to show how these 2 systems really work. Today we are going to be leading off with Mr. Jeff Tompkins. Jeff, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Let's turn the time over to you. Let me give you the presenter link. It should be there.
Excellent. You should see my screen.
I do indeed.
All right, let's make sure that it advances. That's usually the one technical problem. You should see the disclaimer there.
Looks like a disclaimer to me.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. Looks like we still have quite a few people coming into the room, but the good news is we have a couple minutes before we get into the fun stuff. So sit tight, and we will have some people continuing to join. If you guys have questions during the presentation tonight, feel free to type those into the chat box. My partner Richard and Daniel's partner Homa will be fielding the chat box and answering questions. If there's anything that we need to pause for to address, we will certainly do that. We want this to be somewhat interactive, but realize that we do have a lot of really good stuff to get through tonight. So we're going to try to kind of get through everything, and then we'll hold a Q&A towards the end of the session to make sure there aren't any lingering questions by the end of our time together this evening. So thanks everybody for joining, taking time out of your Thursday evening to be here. We're going to make it worth your while and give you guys some really great actionable information that you guys can use to improve your trading and investing. So I know that Hunter read their disclaimer, but we'll read ours as well. I'll abbreviate it a bit, but we got to make the attorneys happy. So we all know, of course, that trading securities and options involves risk. And prior to buying or selling an option, an investor must receive a copy of characteristics and risks of standardized options. And of course, we do need a broker to trade securities and must meet suitability requirements. Because we are going to be looking at some strategy and charts and things like that together tonight, just know that anything that we show or share on the session together tonight, we don't guarantee anybody will duplicate. And of course, due to the time critical nature of trading, brokerage fees, and activity of other subscribers, we can't guarantee the mirroring of performance, even though we are going to show actual signals from our systems, and we're going to share with you how those kind of work. So what you'll discover tonight on our session is number one, and I know this is certainly something that I struggled often with early on in my trading career, and it never goes away, to be frank. There's always and it's really our biggest overhead as traders and investors. There's always the situation where we make money in the markets and then we give a lot of it back. But what we want to help you do tonight is avoid giving it all back, or more back than you make, certainly. So, ask yourself, are you tired of giving back your profits to the market by trading at the wrong time? And interestingly, the timing of your trades often can dictate that major variable of trading and investing and the overhead that's involved there. And there are actually certain days and times to trade that are better than others. Most people, when they have a system or a strategy, will just basically implement it really at their whim, or whenever they feel like sitting down at the computer and trading. But you can actually make a pretty big difference in your overall results if you are more selective in the days and times that you trade. And that's going to be really the focus of our session tonight. And there is some very reliable methods to help identify profitable trading days, and not only days, but also down to the hour. And Daniel's going to really get into that part of it tonight. But you can actually discover, using a really cool tool, some of the best, not just days of the week, but times within the day to trade and other times to avoid. And he's actually going to show you how much of a difference that can make in your results. Because there are very specific days and times to trade, and other times when you really want to just stay out of the market. And really, regardless of what system you're using currently, or what methodology or signal software that you currently use to make your trading decisions or indicators, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you're using, if you don't optimize it and hone it into the right times, and you don't stay out of the market when the conditions aren't conducive to your system, it's ultimately going to result in you giving back a lot of your profits to the market. So you're going to discover today at our session the best days and times to trade, as well as some other really cool tools. So here's our agenda. We're going to cover how to use Trade Trend on Metastock to identify big market moves. And the beauty of this tool is that it can tell us market moves up to 3 candlesticks in advance. And I'll show you that here in just a minute. We're going to show you how to leverage your portfolio using a tool called Portfolio Architect to find a trading edge in the market. And this is where it's going to get down into the best days and times to trade. And then we're going to show you how to combine these two tools to really give you an extra edge in your trading and investing. And regardless of what time frame or market you're currently trading, these are two really great tools to help you, whether you're trading intraday or longer term charts, and whether you're trading futures or options or equities, ETFs, whatever you trade, this tool can be applied and really help you improve your overall results. So we're going to show you how to figure out the best days and times to trade. And the beauty of it is it's very simple. Really, with a couple clicks of the mouse, you can determine what day and time you should be trading a certain system with the tools that we're going to show you. And really, and you can basically, every stock, every ETF, every futures market, whatever you trade, sort of behaves a little bit differently. So they all have their own kind of different, unique personalities. And that's why it's so important to have tools like this, is to be able to analyze the personality of the stock or the ETF or the Forex pair, whatever you trade. And once you know the personality of that market, and you have a tool that can help you filter opportunities and keep you out of the market when conditions aren't favorable, it's amazing what can happen. And then we're going to show you how to backtest results prior to risking your hard-earned money. We're going to go through some trade examples, and then make sure to stick with us to the end. We'll spend probably about an hour together tonight. Depending on questions and interaction, we may go a little bit over. And by the way, this is recorded, so if you do have to jump off, there will be a recording available, but we urge you to stick with us until the end, because we're going to show you some really cool tools that you guys can incorporate. Just to do a brief introduction here, Hunter did a great job introducing, but I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Jeff Tompkins, Chief Investment Strategist of Altos Trading, also a hedge fund manager at Altos Capital. So I do manage money for my clients, and a lot of the tools and techniques I'm going to show you in our session tonight actually use in my hedge fund. So you're going to get a really cool inside look into some institutional trading and investing. And then very happy to present Daniel Sinnig. He's a data scientist that owns tradingindicators.com and is the developer of the Portfolio Architect tool. And so we'll be introducing Daniel here shortly as we get a little deeper in through our time together tonight. So we'll start off by looking at tool number one, and that's an add-on indicator to the Metastock platform called Trade Trend. And Trade Trend, we developed several years ago, is an algorithmic add-on that is meant to identify momentum and trends in the market before they're established. And that's really the purpose of it. If you guys have ever used any sort of indicator or other add-on or signal software, you've probably noticed that when you get a signal, you really got to act on it. And there's really not a lot of ways to filter out bad signals or choppiness in the market. And so we designed Trade Trend to overcome that problem and to give warning signals, either a buy warning signal or a sell warning signal, in advance of the actual entry into the market. And what I mean by that, so if you're trading, off a daily chart, let's say, and you want to enter the market with a bias to the long side or the downside, we want to know with some degree of advance, where we would enter and at what price. And that's how we set the algorithm up, to give us accurate buy and sell signals up to 3 candles in advance of the move. So it will actually, as you'll see here in a minute, as we get over to the Metastock platform, give us up to 3 candles advance notice of the likely future direction of the trend. And it will also give us a suggested entry price. So what Trade Trend really does is it takes all the guesswork out of knowing when to enter the market, at what price to enter the market, regardless of what time frame or security you're trading in. And it does that with a proprietary blend of momentum indicators. And we can use it really for any methodology in any strategy, whether you're trading stocks, ETFs, futures, Forex. We can also use it to screen for opportunities, and we'll do a little bit of demonstration on the scanning tool in Metastock tonight as well. And then any time frame that you trade, we've probably got a quite diverse group of traders and investors on the session. We developed Trade Trend to apply to any style of trading and investing, whether you're a short-term day trader to a long-term position trader or investor. And so regardless of what time frame you trade in, we have designed the algorithm to identify these trends and momentum shifts. There's also a really great backtesting tool that Daniel's going to be demonstrating in more detail. We have a lot of members who use this tool to identify entry points for their options trades, especially directional options trades. We certainly have a lot of members who use it for more non-directional or market neutral strategies like an iron condor or even a credit spread. But where options trading becomes very difficult, and I know this firsthand because I've traded options for 20 years, is directional timing. Because if you don't get the timing exactly right for a directional options trade, it's most likely not going to work out unless you're really good with hitting low IV implied volatility environments and capitalizing on spikes in implied volatility, even if the underlying security doesn't move, etc. We're not going to get into all the intricacies of the options world on the session, but this simplifies it for people. It allows you to identify a turning point before a move occurs, and when that does happen, it can really allow you to supercharge the results of your directional options trades, whether you're buying calls or puts. And in fact, we'll look at that here in just a second on a chart of the S&P and the warnings it's given us, and how we taken those signals and implemented an option strategy, how incredible that can work out for us. And ultimately, because I know as a professional trader myself and a hedge fund manager how difficult this world is and how difficult this this profession is, it's really not easy. Most people do fail at it, and the learning curve is very steep. I mean, I was not a success off the bat. It took me a good decade to start to get to a point where I could actually rely on profits to pay bills and things like that. And so it's very difficult. I'll tell you firsthand, and most educators won't tell you that because they want you to buy their system or their strategy or whatnot. But I'll tell you, it's very difficult, and it's always going to be difficult. So you really need the right tools at your disposal to overcome a lot of the hurdles that you're going to encounter. And that's, again, why we've designed Trade Trend. And as you'll see here, when you combine it with Portfolio Architect, it's unstoppable. It's really incredible. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Trade Trend, and then we'll show you guys how to combine that with the Portfolio Architect tool. So as I mentioned, Trade Trend provides predictive buy and sell signals. So this really sets it apart from other indicators and add-on softwares, because most of them give you a signal and you have to act on it right away. Now, Trade Trend gives us a buy or sell warning up to 3 candles in advance. So there is the potential that you could enter the market on the very next candle. But here's the most important thing, the key. You never enter the market on the first signal, on the candle, on the warning signal. The first buy or sell signal is purely a warning. It's a projection by the algorithm whether or not the underlying security that you're trading is going to go up or down. That's purely what it is. And it gives you a suggested entry price at that point. Now, if the follow through doesn't occur, and we've actually built this into the algorithm, as I'll show and explain here in a second on a chart, if the follow through doesn't occur, then we don't get into the market. And the beauty of that is it helps weed out a lot of false signals. How many people have had false signals or whipsaws in their trading? Well, we've designed to help overcome that. We've designed the algorithm to help overcome that. And so the signals are always good for up to 3 candles in advance. And sometimes they'll be triggered on the next candle. So let's say you're trading off a daily chart. Then if the suggested entry price is reached, you would enter on the next day. And you can have that all set up in advance, so you don't even have to be there to do that. If it's not reached within the next 3 candles, then we cancel the order. But there is the potential that on day number 2 or day number 3, that we go ahead and hit the suggested entry price and the trade is triggered. This will all become more clear as we look at this on a chart. But the key here that I want to emphasize is that you're getting advanced warning, okay? And the nice thing about this is that what causes a lot of people to fail when they're trading with indicators or add-on softwares where you have to act immediately is there's a lot of things that can get in the way. Your emotions, you can start second guessing. Maybe you just hit a string of 2, 3 losers, and you get another signal, and all of a sudden you're hesitating because you felt the pain of the last maybe 2 or 3 losing trades, and then the next one's a winner, but you missed out because you had to act on it right away and you hesitated. How many people does that sound familiar to? I've done that myself. And again, we've designed Trade Trend to help overcome that. You don't need to act on the first signal. It's a warning. And then it also gives you time. So you can plan out your trade. And planning is so important. Just like any other business, too many people enter trades or get into an investment without planning ahead of time. They simply get in with a hope and an expectation, and they don't have a plan. And Trade Trend gives you the time to do that. Certainly if you're trading off smaller time frames, you're always going to have less time the lower the time frame you go, but you'll still have more time than you would if you just use an indicator by itself where you have to jump in right on the signal. All right, so we're going to show you guys how to cut the learning curve and start trading like a pro, starting as early as tomorrow. And tomorrow is a good time to start because we are in a wild market. And I'll touch on that here as well as we go over to the Metastock platform. We're obviously in very volatile market conditions right now. So I've got a daily chart of the S&P 500 index pulled up, and I'm going to do a little bit of a market overview to give you guys a little bit of education and analysis going into the training on our tools. But obviously we've had a big spike in the VIX, the CBOE volatility index, and a big sell-off in the market. So what's caused these large volatility expansions that we've seen? Probably, let's see, probably might want to count that one out, but certainly, and maybe even this one, but 3 out of the last 5 sell-off days that we've seen. Well, the main thing is a rise in bond yields. And that's a tough one to predict. In fact, it's really impossible to predict because we don't know until Powell, the Fed chairman, says, hey, bond yields are rising and there's inflation occurring in the market. Once he comes on the major news stations and makes that announcement, then people panic and you see these sell-offs. The good news is they're generally short-lived unless the bond yields continue to rise. That was the cause of this sell-off right here on February 25th. This was a big down day in the market, and that was, and I'll zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see this better. This was the sell-off is due to a rise in bond yields. Same thing today. Generally, you'll see a retracement back to the upside after a rise in bond yields. We kind of saw that here, but there's some other things that are going on in the market that could cause this to be more of a sustained sell-off. And we actually, if looking at the NASDAQ, entered a correction territory today. I believe we bounced off that, but for those of you who aren't familiar, correction territory is defined as a peak to trough sell-off of 10%. And we actually reached that today. So we're kind of in that, we did bounce off the lows, as you can see here on the S&P, as well as on the NASDAQ and Russell and Dow. But basically, if you get a peak to trough sell-off and a peak right up here on February 16th on the S&P of 10%, that's considered a correction. And then bear market territory is a peak to trough of 20% or greater. And so we really want to be kind of on our toes right now, watching out for a further sell-off in the bear market territory. A lot of people are predicting it. I don't attempt to predict those things. I use momentum-based strategies and methodologies to guide me on direction. But let's go ahead and map out some levels here, and then I'll show you guys how I use momentum techniques to gauge direction of the market. So we of course hit a all-time high here around 39.50. Now, interesting, a lot of the price action you see on the S&P occurs near major round numbers, and I call them the century marks for the 100 mark points, like 3,900, 3,800, 3,700, and then half century marks for like 3,950, 3,850. But interestingly, we hit a high of 39.50.43, and a lot of times you'll see it kind of surpass that just by pennies and then reverse. So there was obviously a sell-off from 39.50. 3,700 is going to be our next level of major support. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out here so we can get a better view of this. And it's pretty incredible how far back you can go on some of these major century marks and half century marks and find these levels holding. Here's a major one all the way down at 35.50. Actually, let's mark the 3,600 first, and then also 35.50. We've actually got one at 36.50. So now if I zoom back in here, and some of these will go back pretty far. We've got one right here around 3,400. See all the way back here from the Corona crash back in March. So I'll go ahead and zoom back in here. And so we can see how this was a major level of support, which was once resistance. So the key with support and resistance is once resistance is broken, it becomes support, and vice versa. Once support is broken, it becomes resistance. So see how we had this really tight channel here back in the end of last year in December, bouncing back and forth. This was resistance at 3,700. We broke through it. And often what happens when you have a breakout of resistance and conversely with support, just in the opposite fashion, is you come back down and retest it. So that happened here in early February. We then trade up to 39.50. Now we're reverting back to 3,700. The other major level here to look at is 38. Now, why is that so important? Well, number one, it's a major century mark, 3,800. And number two, we closed below it today on a very bearish move to the downside. So if we close back above 3,800 tomorrow, my projection is that we will move back up to 3,950 or 3,900, which is also century mark. If we continue to sell off tomorrow, we will probably sell off down into 3,700. So this 3,800 level is very key to pay attention to and watch for tomorrow, because there's only two. It's a binary outcome. We either close above 38 or above or below. You know, we could close right at it, yeah, but it's a binary outcome. Bullish if we close above, bearish if we close below. And then if we have bearish price action, we watch for the 3,700. If we break below 37, we watch the 3,650. Break below that, we watch the 36, and so on and so forth. So that's how we map out levels on the S&P. Now let's go ahead and add in the trade trend indicator. So the Metastock platform is one of my favorite charting platforms around. Obviously, it's been ranked #1 many years for a good reason, and it's got some very cool tools that we're going to get into tonight on our session. The most basic is the charting tool. So if I want to look up a chart of the SPX, actually I'm going to do the SPY because most people are going to trade the SPY over the SPX because it's the ETF that tracks the S&P and it's priced lower, and options on it trade at lower premiums and everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a chart of the SPY with the trade trend indicator added onto it. And I'll sort of demonstrate here briefly how the trade trend indicator works, as I mentioned earlier, and how we can use the different tools that are available to us to take these signals. I'm going to highlight a couple things here. Just to give you a background on the symbology, the diamond is our warning signal. So remember how I mentioned that you get the buyer sell warning. So a red diamond is our sell warning, and a green diamond is our buy warning. So we don't do anything other than, if we're going to take a trade off the signal, enter at that point. And I'll show you how that works, because Metastock's got a really nice commentary that just spells it all out for you. There's really no guesswork. And then we would have our order entered on that candle, and we're looking at a daily chart. So I'm just going to, Daniel will get a little into the intraday charts a little bit. I'm just going to be working out daily right here for simplicity. But basically at the end of the trading day, let's look at this buy setup first. On February 3rd, that's where we would go ahead and enter our buy stop order if we wanted to take this signal. The commentary is going to tell us exactly where to put our order in, and I'll pull that up here in a second. And you'll notice that you get a green arrow on the next candle. So remember, this is the warning. This is after the market closed. We get a confirmed signal and where we would put our order in. So we know what direction, long, it's green diamond. We know, as I'll show you on the commentary, where to put our entry price. And then we know that it's good for the next 3 candles. This one moved nice and quickly and triggered on the next candle. And that's what this green arrow means. So this green arrow is not telling us to do anything. It's simply showing us that the suggested entry price to go long, the SPY, was triggered on this candle. And we had a nice exit up here for what would have been a good profit if you had taken the signal pretty close to the highs. Then as the momentum stalls, the algorithm picks up a shift. Zoom in here. In the momentum and a reversal of the trend, we get a red diamond. And the red diamond tells us there's a sell setup. And notice this one didn't trigger on the next candle. So our sell stop order would have gone below the low of the warning candle. And then on candle number 2, day number 2, it triggered. We would have already had our order working for us in our broker platform. And then we get a nice short setup. Here's another one. We got another short setup today. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up the commentary really quick. Let's see. So to get the commentary that tells you exactly what to do, you just go to View Expert Commentary. And what I really love is you can really hover over any day, and you can go back. You can just click the arrows, go back to any day, and look at all the past commentaries. So let's go back to this buy signal we were looking at. Now, the SPY had sold off, obviously, and there was a sell signal there. And by the way, let me also point out, not every warning signal results in a trade. So here was a sell warning, but the SPY reversed. The sell stop would have gone below the low of the candle to get in. You'll notice that there was no entry on this signal. So not every signal results in a setup. But this buy one we're going to look at here on the 3rd of February did. So you'll notice here in the commentary that the criteria for a buy setups occurred, and based on the alignment of technical patterns, which we had built into the algorithm that includes volume, volatility, momentum, and other trend factors, the probability of prices moving in the anticipated direction, which is to the upside, is currently at its highest. And then we have a suggested entry price, 383.75. Okay, so that's going to be just above the high of this candle, which is at 383.70. So we would just go 5 ticks above based on the instructions, put our buy stop limit order in, and then if we do happen to get a gap the next day, which we didn't in this case, we actually got a gap down, or no, sorry, we did get a gap up, but we gapped a little bit below the high of the previous day. We were fine, but there is a protective function in the algorithm where if for some reason you get a huge gap up, like here was one back on February 2nd, we wouldn't probably take that trade. So if the, and there wasn't even a signal there to the upside anyway, but if you get a gap above 395.15, don't get into the trade because the momentum's already taken place based on overnight futures action. And then if a trade is triggered, as it was in this case, it gives us our initial stop value. And we can follow this trade here. Oops, let me go back, day by day. So all we really need to do if we're trading off the daily chart is just at the end of the day, go and see what's going on with our trade. Well, we see on the next day, February 4th, that the suggested long entry price was triggered. We're in a long trade, and there's the stop value. Next day, we're still have an existing long open position. We have a new stop value for tomorrow. So on and so forth. And then on February 9th, we've got a new stop value of 389. Okay, and that's where we are stopped at with a profit if we had taken this signal. So not too bad, right? About 389 all the way back to 368. So nice 20-point profit just in the matter of a few days. And so let's look at this current signal for today. Right now, there are no current open signals on the SPY. So trade trend does not suggest any long positions at this time based on the previous price action for long positions. But we do have a short sell warning from today on the daily for the SPY. So you'll see here that this is kind of how we would, if we were going to take this signal, how we would operate. So the criteria for a sell setup has occurred. So if you guys have a day job or you're retired and you're out on the golf course or whatever you're doing, you're traveling, you're not around during the normal market hours, no big deal. On a daily chart, you can simply take your time in the evening and go to the commentary and look what happened for whatever stock or ETF you're following. And obviously the criteria for a sell setup occurred today on the SPY, and it's giving us a suggested entry price of 371.82. So we would put our sell stop just below the low of the candle where it suggests. If we do happen to get a gap down below that low tomorrow, it's telling us not to take the trade if it goes below 360.57. And if we do get into the trade, it tells us where to place our initial trailing stop. So this is a full done for you algorithm. It gives you an entry price, it gives you trailing stops to manage the trade, and it gets you out when the trend gets exhausted. So that's really the idea. Okay, so I want to pause there and see if there are any questions, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Daniel so he can talk to you about how to identify the best days and times to trade using the Portfolio Architect tool. So any questions there, Hunter, that have come through you want to address?
Yeah, so one here from Edward, rather than short SPY, would it be a better idea to buy SH? Would the short signal on SPY also give a long on SH?
I am not familiar with SH. Normally for inverse ETFs, I would normally go long with SPXL, but I can pull up SH. I'm not familiar with it.
I am not either. Edward, if you could tell us what SH is the inverse of SPY, is what he says. SH is the inverse of SPY.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, so I normally do the SPXL, or sorry, SPXS, which is a leveraged inverse of the SPY. I've never traded the SH. Obviously, it's a ProShares inverse ETF. Yeah, so interestingly, we have a buy warning today on the SH. So everything should pretty much work opposite of the SPY if this is inverse, assuming it's not leveraged, which it doesn't look like it is. When you get into the 2x and 3x leveraged ETFs, the inverse signals are not going to match up directly to the ETF or the index. But like if you look at like the SPXL, which is the triple leveraged index of the S&P, or the SPXS, which is the inverse triple leveraged of the S&P, you should get opposing buy and sell signals. So yeah, there was a buy signal here, which makes sense because we've got a sell on the SPY. So yeah, thanks for identifying that.
Perfect. One other question we got a little bit early, and I'm sure you're going to share this later on, but does Jeff Tompkins have a website or URL?
Oh, yeah, so our company website is altostrading.com, ALTOS trading.com.
Okay, I'll put that in the chat. And then those are the only, let's just checking YouTube here for a second. Those are the only questions we have for right now.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead, if we can, I guess I just need to stop sharing so that Daniel can go ahead and share his screen. We'll pass it over to Daniel, and Daniel is one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He actually has done a lot of the programming for us for Trade Trend. He's a computer programmer and engineer, but I'll let him give a little background on himself and let him share his screen. So Daniel, when you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Hunter. And yeah, good evening, everyone, wherever and whenever you are. So I guess for some of you, it might be morning or the daytime, but for us here, it's in the evening. And I'm very excited to be here today to be able to present one of our latest and most exciting products. It's called the Portfolio Architect. And as you will see in the next couple of minutes, it's a tool that works perfectly together, not just with MetaStock, but also with Trade Trend. And what it exactly does, I will explain to you in the next couple of minutes. Maybe just a few words about who I am. So as Jeff said, I'm a software engineer by training. I used to teach software engineering at the university in Montreal, Canada, but it's been a couple of years now, almost 5 years, that I specialize on developing trading software. We develop standalone software such as the Portfolio Architect, which you will see today, but we also develop automated strategies, we develop indicators, we develop trading dashboards for all kinds of audiences and traders and trading educators. And yeah, so and one such tool that we developed completely in-house is the Portfolio Architect. And as you will see, it's designed to fill a very important gap. And which is what we call the portfolio analysis. I'm sure many of you have heard about backtesting a strategy or doing an analysis of a strategy based on historical data. And that's pretty much built into most trading softwares. And of course, MetaStock has a very powerful backtesting engine, which we will review in just a bit. But not many traders actually perform what we call a portfolio analysis. So what is that? Instead of just backtesting an individual strategy on a particular symbol and time frame, a portfolio analysis allows you to run a bucket of backtests together and then see a portfolio results of all these strategies on all those symbols applied at the same time. And that's very important because the drawdown effects, but also the profit effects, will change dramatically if, for example, all those strategies may have a losing trade at the same time. But this is something you cannot figure out by running an individual backtest. For this kind of scenario, what you need is a portfolio test. And this is where the portfolio architect comes in. It allows you to do exactly this, a portfolio analysis of a bucket of strategies run together. So with every portfolio test, and I'll show you a demo in just a second, the portfolio architect generates a whole set of performance metrics, basic ones such as the P&L, the drawdown, the number of trades, but also more sophisticated ones such as Sharpe ratios, Sortino ratios, and so forth. And what is one of the most important things of any back test, but also surely a portfolio test, is that it will give you an expectation of how your strategy is likely to perform in the future. Not just how much profit it is going to give you, if any, which is always a nice thing to see, but more importantly, it allows you what to expect when things do not go by plan. It allows you to see, okay, what kind of drawdown can I expect from my portfolio? And at that point, you can make a decision. Am I still going to be comfortable with this kind of drawdown, or is it going to be something that's too nerve-wracking for me, or some kind of risk that I'm not willing to take? And exactly this is what the portfolio architect will tell you before you actually start trading. It is what to expect from your portfolio. Okay, so let's jump right ahead and demo the tool. And before I do this, just one very exciting feature which we will also demo to you is we have designed the portfolio architect to give you powerful information as to when is the best time for you to trade a particular strategy or portfolio. This can be seasonal, such as, okay, this strategy works better or tends to work better in spring, for example, rather than in summer. Work better towards the end of the week. Or if it's an intraday trading strategy, a day trading strategy, it could be the time of the day. Some strategies work better in the morning, others better at noon, and others better in the evening. And what this tool will allow you to see is when exactly for a particular strategy, just like trade trend, it is the best time for you to engage in a trade. All right, so much theory. Now let's go right ahead and demo the tool. So this is the interface that you can expect from the portfolio architect. What you can see here on the left-hand side are all the strategies that are currently in your portfolio. We just select the master portfolio up here. And in addition, you also see at the bottom here, the equity evolution of all those strategies put together. In terms of equity, but also in terms of drawdown, yearly returns, or monthly returns. In addition to all this, we have a whole set of metrics that come along with our portfolio, such as net profit, profit factor, drawdown, absolute drawdown, number of trades, and so forth. We analyze what is the average return, monthly or yearly, generated by this portfolio backtest, as well as what kind of trading behavior does this portfolio have? Meaning, okay, how big is my average winner? How big is my average loser? How many consecutive winners did I have in my portfolio versus consecutive losers? What was my largest winner versus my largest loser? And so forth. And now the most exciting part of the portfolio architect is this window down here. This quadrant here will show you the seasonality of your portfolio. For example, what you can see here is that on Monday and Tuesday, the profits by this portfolio have been moderate, whereas on Wednesday and Thursday, they've been much larger than the first 2 days. On Friday, a little bit less. If it was a day trading strategy, you could also see the seasonality by the hour of the day. And we also have a distribution by longs and shorts, or by the time of the year in terms of the month. And we can see here that in summer, the strategy does not, or this portfolio does not tend to perform as well. Whereas in the beginning of the year, it seems to, or in the winter month, it seems to tend to perform a bit better. All right. So what else do we have? You have the ability to create sub-portfolios within the portfolio architect. What does that mean? For example, if you're not interested in seeing all these strategies put together, but maybe only in the subset of them, what you can do is you can create a sub-portfolio just by clicking on this plus sign here, and then highlight a couple of strategies that you would like to import into this sub-portfolio. And you just drag it into this portfolio. They're now applied to this portfolio. And as soon as you select it, the portfolio will be loaded, and you can see an analysis of only these 3 strategies put together with exactly the same statistics in terms of performance metrics, seasonality, and so forth. Now, this is one of the nicest features, and everything works by drag and drop. All right, so this is the portfolio architect. Now, how does the portfolio architect work together with Metastock and TradeTrend? Well, let's find out. So for this, I will go over to the Metastock platform. Just a second. And maybe a bit of background for those of you who have not used Metastock yet. Metastock is not just an awesome charting platform, but it's super powerful in terms of generating system tests or individual back tests. These back tests can be enabled via this button here, the system test functionality. And so as soon as you click on it, on the top window here, you can see all the automated strategies that are available in Metastock. And if you have TradeTrend, also TradeTrend will show up here, and you can simply select it. Okay. Now down here, you can define over which instruments you want to conduct your back test. And this must not just be an individual instrument, but can be an entire bucket of instruments. For example, you could select, and I did this earlier today, the entire S&P 500. Just checking this box here. And as soon as you start system test, the Metastock software will perform a backtest on every single instrument in this bucket. I will not start system test now because this will take a little while, but it's still super powerful. What I like to do is to pick a couple of strategies and a whole set of instruments and run these system tests overnight. When I wake up in the morning, I just look at the results. Okay, so right, this is an overview of the backtest functionality, but let's go ahead and apply TradeTrend to a smaller subset of symbols. In this case, I have picked microchip technology, NVIDIA, and Tesla. I've summarized these ones in a custom list, which can be created over this with this button here. When you select your custom list and click Start System Test, and also you have to choose the time frame, like the chart time frame, on which you would like to apply this back test, in this case daily. You click Start System Test, and now Metastock will perform in the background this test. And as soon as the results are in, you can click on View Results, and you can see the performance metrics for every individual backtest. You can see here that Tesla, for example, has performed the best, microchip second, and NVIDIA third. If you'd like to see the details of every test, you double-click on an individual test run, and you see all the performance statistics about this individual backtest in terms of orders, positions, equity, and so forth. Okay. All right. Now, so you have all these statistics here, but these are only for one individual backtest. Where Metastock lacks a little bit of functionality is to perform a portfolio analysis, meaning what would have happened if I traded all 3 symbols at the same time? What would be the portfolio performance of all these tests together? So this is where the portfolio architect comes in. So what you can do is you can simply import these backtest results performed by Metastock into Portfolio Architect. You simply highlight all your positions here. You copy it, Control-C, or you save it to file, but I'm just going to use the shortcut for this presentation. And then you go back to the Portfolio Architect. And as soon as it's in your clipboard, you see this button here, Add from Clipboard. And I'm going to put this into a new sub-portfolio, for example. I'll call it Metastock. Okay, I select this portfolio. And when I click Add from Clipboard, I could give it a name. For example, trade trend applied to which was the symbol? I forgot what it was. It was NVIDIA, I believe. I give it a name, and now this backtest has been imported into Portfolio Architect. Right now, it's just an individual backtest. But what we can do next is we go back to MetaStock and go back to a second symbol here. Let's say microchap tick. Again, we select the positions. We highlight it. We copy it. We go back to the Portfolio Architect, add from clipboard. So this was trade trend applied to MCHP. Oops, 1 second. MCHP. We click OK, and now MCHP has been added to our portfolio. And what you see now here is the portfolio effect of both trade trend strategies applied to these two symbols. Okay. Oh, and just see this was not the right one. Hang on, let me just do this one more time because I think I imported the same one. Sorry, 1 second. Back here, we'll copy it back to Portfolio Architect. I'll do it one more time. I have the old clipboard value still on my clipboard, MCHP. All right. Nope. What happened? Oh, I may have. Oh, I know what happened. My apologies. The first backtest I performed was also MCHP. That's why it's listed with the same numbers here. So let me quickly take this out. I apologize for this, but this is the Murphy's rule of performing a live demonstration. So back to my report. All right, view, and now we'll use NVIDIA here. Okay, again, to positions, we select everything, back to the Portfolio Architect, add from clipboard. Now it's going to work. Trade trend applied to NVIDIA, click OK. And now you can see that the new statistics have been imported properly from NVIDIA. And finally, we'll do the same thing. Please bear with me with Tesla, our last instrument in the report. So Tesla, double click. We go to positions. We select everything, copy, back to Portfolio Architect, add from clipboard, give it a name, and we apply it. And now also Tesla has been added to our portfolio test. Okay, so what you can see here is that not only all the trades which were taken by this portfolio of strategies, but you can also see some very interesting timing effects for this portfolio. For example, if you look at the weekday chart here, you can see that on Monday, all these strategies or this portfolio would not have performed very well. I would have lost some money possibly. Whereas on Tuesday, Wednesday, and especially on Friday, would have performed really, really well. So this gives you some very important insight as to when your portfolio is more likely to perform better than on other days. Okay, just one more thing to show. You can now simulate within the Portfolio Architect, what if I would have skipped trading on Monday altogether? It's actually very easy. You do not have to rerun your test from MetaStock. All you need to do is you go to Properties up here, okay, and you apply a filter. So in this case, the filter would be to only trade on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. You click OK. And now the Portfolio Architect will recalculate your performance with the Monday filter applied, where trading on Monday would not occur. This is how you can do an instant on-the-fly optimization of your portfolio without having to rerun your back test in MetaStock. Okay. All right. So just to wrap things up, and now I will hand the voice over to Jeff again, is I want to run a back test with MetaStock using trade trend on an intraday chart. So far, we've run it on daily charts for longer-term investments, but trade trend works also very well on intraday timeframes. So let's do it. So what we have to do is we pick trade trend as our strategy, and you can select multiple strategies if you like. So we pick trade trend. If we pick our symbols, in this case, I picked a different set of symbols. I picked Ford, Diamondback Energy, and FDI. On the right-hand side here, in interval, instead of daily, you will choose an intraday time frame. In this case, let's just choose the 5-minute time frame, and we click Start System Test. Depending on how long it takes to download this historical data required for the spec test, this may take a couple of seconds. We're almost done. All right, simulation completed, and we can view our results. As you can see here, also on the M5, our strategy performed well. Let's, for example, choose Ford. We go to positions here. Again, we highlight everything. Okay, back to Portfolio Architect, and I will create a sub-portfolio here. For example, let's call it a Trade Trend M5 for the M5 time frame. Okay, and we will import the data into this sub-portfolio. It was Trade Trend on Ford in this case. We click OK, and now it's imported into Portfolio Architect. Now, since this is an intraday strategy, we actually can look at the hours which performed best for this symbol. As you can see here, that Ford, or this trading strategy for Ford, would have performed really well when the market just opened, like exceptionally well, and then not as good in the subsequent hours. So this tells you as a trader that if you get an intraday signal for Ford, and it occurs perhaps towards the end of the day, you should think twice whether you would like to trade it. But if it occurs in the opening hours or the opening hour of the market, it is more likely to have a successful trade. Okay, this is something that you can find out very easily with this tool, with Portfolio Architect, in conjunction with Metastock, which will generate all these back tests for you, and of course with Trade Trend. All right, Jeff, would you like to say something to wrap up this presentation?
Yeah. Hopefully my mic's back on.
It is.
Oh, that's always good. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Thanks, Daniel, for that great demonstration. And guys, Portfolio Architect, it's a tool I use myself. I mean, it's one of those things I wish I had back in the day, because, you know, when do you stay out of the market? And I think Trade Trend gives us a pretty good indicator of when to get in and when to get out, but it doesn't give you everything you need to know. And as Daniel demonstrated, there's periods of time where even with a good tool like Trade Trend, you can do better by avoiding certain hours in the day, by avoiding certain days of the week. And it's interesting when you look at that and determine when, when you should not trade and when you should, and then once you actually implement it, the difference that it can make. And it's really incredible. And I'm a big believer in seasonality and timing of the markets and entering trades at certain times, partly because I've made those mistakes myself, but of the 50,000 plus students that we've coached and helped become better traders, is probably not the number one issue that I see people encounter is when do I actually get into the market and take a trade, and when do I stay out when the timing is not appropriate. And the Portfolio Architect tool not only tells you that, but it tells you very specifically based on it really kind of customizes it for you based on what you're trading, and what time frame you're trading in, and what when you're available to trade the markets. And so it can help you really hone in on when to trade and when not to trade. And I've noticed it's made a big difference in my results. So I use it personally. It's an invaluable tool. I wouldn't trade without it. And I really thank you, Daniel, for sharing that. Number one, for developing it. I mean, I know a lot of work went into that, and there's not a lot out there that can accomplish what you have with Portfolio Architect. But number two, for allowing me to use it, because it's made such a big difference, and then incorporating it into Metastock and the Trade Trend algo has been incredible. So let me go ahead and share my screen again here, and we'll go back to our slides. So guys, we're going to give you some really cool tools for being on the session with us tonight. I appreciate your guys' time. We have a nice group with us. And if you did have to drop off, this was recorded, but I'm glad for everybody that did stay on, because we do have a limited opportunity here. So for those that did have to drop off, they may have missed out, unfortunately, but hopefully they'll be able to watch the replay here shortly. But for those of you that are still on with us, and we've got a really nice group that has stuck through and learned a lot of great stuff, we're going to offer you some really cool tools for your own toolbox to trade the markets and improve your consistency and hopefully profitability, especially in volatile market conditions like we're in right now. So we're going to throw in, and Hunter will give you a little bit more detail on this. I'm just going to kind of tell you what we're going to include in the package for tonight. And that's 12 months of trade trend on Metastock for stocks, futures, and Forex. And that, as you saw, as I demonstrated earlier, includes exact entry and exit signals, as well as a commentary that gives you the trailing stops and exactly how to manage all of your trades, regardless of what time frame you're trading in. We're also going to include our live interactive trade sessions. So we do hold these a couple times a month, and you'll be able to join these. And we're going to hold 2 premium sessions as well, which I'll tell you about here in just a second. But we hold our general live trade sessions a couple times a month, where we use the trade trend indicator in the markets and identify opportunities, run scans, and do all these things together so that you're not left in the dark wondering what to do. And then we're going to also throw in access to our members area for the replays, recorded training sessions, and a lot of our training, because we realize, although we hold these in the evenings, we realize a lot of people are busy and have things going on in their lives where they're not able to join. So you'll be able to get the recorded session if you're not able to join that. And then, of course, you get the best in-class portfolio architect software, as Daniel demonstrated, all the high-end tools to analyze your trades and investments. And we're going to throw in 2 live trading sessions with Daniel and myself using Trade Trend and Portfolio Architect. And we're going to get into more depth of how to use these tools together to really accelerate your trading results. You'll also get actionable insights to find your trading edge. And we're going to throw in a couple bonuses for tonight only. One is our professional trading series training. So this is our training that I conducted for all of our best options, equities, and Forex strategies. It's over 9.5 hours of online content. You get immediate access to it. You can watch it at your leisure. And it's a really valuable learning tool that you can use in conjunction with Trade Trend and Portfolio Architect. And then, as I mentioned, bonus number 2 is the 2 live training sessions. So Daniel and I will alert you guys to the dates of these. So keep an eye out, and we'll let you know the exact date and time of these sessions. And we'll be using the Trade Trend and Portfolio Architect tools together to help you guys navigate the markets and select the best days and times to trade. And we've got a lot of members who are using Trade Trend as well as Portfolio Architect. These are just a few testimonials out of the hundreds that we get on a regular basis. And I'll just highlight a couple of these. We get so many testimonials where people are trading different markets, different time frames, and I think it's important to share how the tools work across different markets, because I often find people, students, and members that come to us that have tried other companies or other signal softwares or alert services, say, it worked for a while, or it worked on this one stock I was trading, and then when I started to use it on other things, it stopped working. And we almost never hear that from people, because we've developed an algorithm that's based on a methodology that, while I'll never claim will work on every single time frame in security every time, that would be deceptive. It works very, very well across different time frames and securities, and it's hard to find something like that. And so if you look at our Julian's recent testimonial to us, he was using it on the Great British Pound pairs. So he was trading Forex as well as Bitcoin. And he says this is really an excellent indicator. I've made $11,230, one of the most powerful indicators I've used. And he actually sent this to us only, I think, a couple of weeks into using it. So he had really great success right off the bat. And he recommends it for anyone who's serious about winning trades and making consistent money. One of my favorites that we got last year that I like to highlight is from Brian, because I know Brian was struggling at periods in the market and was at one point down $42,000. That's a lot, no matter what account size you have, a lot of money to be down. And that can really shake your confidence and make you question your system. And I'm not sure what system Brian was using, but he did decide to use Trade Trend, and I helped coach him. And he joined our live trading sessions and started to use our Trade Trend tool. And we got a really great testimonial from him via email last year, saying that he had actually recouped all of those losses and was now net positive $47,000 on Trade Trend trades. And he was trading using it to trade the futures market. Which to me is a testament to the algorithm, because futures are very volatile. They're highly leveraged. Most people that attempt their hand at futures, kind of like options, end up failing. And to hear somebody, that hadn't really traded futures before, use a tool that allowed them to make $47,000 in only 3 months on top of their losses. So they actually made $90,000 in profits. Is pretty incredible. And so he says the system itself actually would have even generated more returns if not for some mistakes on his part. But basically, he says that he's really thankful to the good Lord for leading him to our system. And so we get hundreds and hundreds of testimonials like this about Trade Trend. And now that we've included it and incorporated it with Portfolio Architect to help you guys determine the best days and times to select your trades, they're coming in faster than ever. So we're going to offer up a couple really great packages tonight for joining the session, and where you can get your hands on both the tools or one or the other. Some people on the session tonight probably already have Trade Trend, but not Portfolio Architect, or maybe even vice versa. But basically, you can select one, the other, or both. But for package number one, if you don't have either tool, you want to add these to your arsenal. I mean, the markets are getting more and more difficult. And I've talked to some colleagues of mine that manage hedge funds and trade institutionally. And they're not like your kind of retail trader, trading from home type of people. And I certainly agree with them. I mean, this is like the markets have completely changed. We've been in really sort of an unprecedented bull run, and things have been fairly easy over the last decade. But something different is occurring coming out of this one than has occurred over past bull runs. And it's becoming more difficult. It's pretty unusual to come out of a bull run like this with sustained volatility in a VIX above 20 for a year. And we are pretty much approaching a year of the VIX being above 20, which is difficult. It's a difficult thing to do. So let's make it easier. Give you guys 12 months of Trade Trend on Metastock. Normally that's a $1,499 retail value if you guys just purchase that from the website. That's what we charge for the subscription, which is by itself a bargain, of course, because you can see how much money that could potentially save you, as well as make on even an individual trade. But we're also going to throw in live trade sessions valued at $550 and personal coaching on those sessions, as well as via email for $997. And then you're also going to get 12 months of Portfolio Architect. So you guys can actually select the best days and times of trade, no matter what time frame you're trading in, valued at $399. And by the way, I mean, this tool is gaining so much popularity that they're raising the price, on a regular basis. So I would urge you to jump in on this now before it goes up too much. We're actually going to discount it way beyond this, as you'll see in a second. But it's a really valuable tool, worth way more than what Daniel is offering it for. Daniel is a very humble guy and works very hard and provides really great stuff. And this is really a great opportunity to get it at a discounted value. So ultimately, we're going to help you guys learn to trade stocks, futures, forex, and options with consistency, which of course is priceless. You can't put a price tag on any of that. And then the bonuses that I mentioned that we're going to throw in is the 9.5 hours of our best stock options and forex strategies in online format. So you guys can watch this at your own leisure whenever you want. It's a great tool to use alongside Trade Trend and Portfolio Architect. We normally sell that for $697. And then our 2 live trading sessions are also going to be included as a bonus, which is valued at $299. So overall, the value on this whole package is over $4,000. So I mean, obviously, there's a lot of value in here, a lot that you're going to get out of it, a lot of tools that you can use in your own trading starting tomorrow. And guys, the market is going to be pretty crazy over the next few months, possibly through the rest of the year. So if you don't have a way to navigate that, I would urge you probably not to trade, because it's going to be very difficult. So we're going to take 77% off for tonight, $997, and you can get everything that you see in package number 1. And you get 12 months of Trade Trend, 12 months of Portfolio Architect, all of our live trade sessions, our 2 bonus live trade sessions included with Daniel, and our professional trading series. Really great value. Hunter will tell you in a second how you can take advantage of this, where you get Trade Trend and Portfolio Architect together. If you already have Trade Trend, we have a separate package just for Portfolio Architect. And so you'll get access to this again for 1 year. Normally that's $399. We're also going to still throw in our bonus training, where you can learn all of our best stock, futures, forex, and option strategies, as well as get access to our professional trading series online course valued at $697, and again, the 2 live trading sessions. So the value on the Portfolio Architect package is $1395, and we're taking 78% off for $299. So you guys have 2 options here. If you've already got Trade Trend, this is a great second option for you to add Portfolio Architect into your arsenal. If you don't have either, you'll want to pick up both for a significant discount, and you get all the tools. And you're also grandfathered in at the special rate as long as you want to stay a member. There's no contracts, no continued obligations. You can stay as a member as long as you want, or you can learn as much as you can and decide that you're self-sufficient and you're ready to trade on your own. And we have really members of all experience levels that make different decisions. We've got people that have been with us for many, many years, and some that learn very quickly through our live trade sessions, etc., and decide that they're ready to do this on their own. So we've made the choice very simple for you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Hunter to tell you guys how to take advantage of either package, and then we'll open it up to a little bit of Q&A.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a really, really good outline of the package, and just kind of to note, this is a unique situation in that we do have 2 systems, 2 products basically, that work incredibly well together, as you guys have seen through sorry, I'm just changing the presenter back to me. They work very, very well together, as you've seen through this this presentation. And hopefully everybody can see my screen here. Jeff Tompkins Trade Trend, the add-on itself alone, we were very lucky to be able to get this into Metastock. It comes with a couple of templates. It comes with the Expert Advisor. The exploration, we actually had a question come in a little bit earlier about how to actually find the trades. And within Metastock, if you pick up the Trade Trend add-on, the add-on itself actually comes with exploration, so you can find these these setups and these trading options here. It comes with the system tester. It comes with a detailed commentary. It comes with full market scanning for setups. We already talked about system testing. And to talk about system testing here, one of the things that I really, really enjoy about Portfolio Architects is it takes the system testing to a completely new level. Now, I'm a huge fan of system testing, especially in Metastock. I think that even if you don't have Metastock, I feel like as a trader, we should always be analyzing how we trade and the stocks that we're trading, and making sure that our our strategy lines up with what we're actually trading. So, you know, the system tester within Metastock is so good, and the trade trend add-on always tests so well. And then Daniel comes into the picture and you know, starts showing me these tools where we can even enhance further to where you can actually identify what time of day you should be trading these stocks. Just an incredible tool. You know, I think that everyone should have it in their arsenal. Portfolio Architect 2.0, it allows you to analyze and optimize your investment and trading portfolio, balances strategies across multiple markets. It's very, very easy to use. And, you know, you can take your back test directly out of Metastock, like you saw a little bit earlier in the presentation, just copy and paste it straight into Portfolio Architect. So these tools work very, very well together. Like Jeff was talking about a little bit earlier, we wanted to create something where you and the audience would have the ability to have everything that you need to utilize the trade trend system, to utilize the Portfolio Architect for a significant period of time, so that you can really see how it's going to impact your trading positively. So we're going to throw in a year of the trade trend, a year of the Portfolio Architect, 9 hours of recorded training from Jeff Tompkins, and these 2 premium live trading sessions, which are really, really exciting, where you have Jeff and Daniel doing this live trading session. And of course, this is going to be kind of a definitely a limited time offer here. Retails for, like Jeff was saying, well over $4,000. You can get it now for $997. So you're saving over 70%. The way that you take advantage of this is you can call, if you're in the States, you give us a call right now, 800-882-3040. Probably the easiest way to do it is just go to metastock.com/sales chat. And we have people waiting by to answer any questions you have, and also get you taken care of as far as getting this package. Now, we did leave a little bit of time at the end for questions. So if you guys are still on board, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Sanjay in the audience asked, do we have to follow the 8-period exponential moving average or the 20-period simple moving average, or just entries and exits given by trade trend?
Okay, yeah, good question. We have a lot of people that use other indicators and moving averages, etc., in conjunction with trade trend. Trade trend is built to be a standalone. It can be used by itself. We generally advise, you know, if you have something that's working for you, go ahead and use trade trend as a confirmation, or use them in conjunction to help improve your current methodology. The tool is really, it is a tool. It can be used alone, but it can also be, and it is an all-in-one tool. It gives you the entries, trailing stops, and exits. But if you have something that's working, I'm confident it can improve the results of your current system or methodology or strategy. We don't necessarily advocate a specific moving average or indicator to use in conjunction with it. What you'll see when you join our live trading sessions that we do cover a lot of that, how to use trade trend with other studies like volatility studies, bands, volatility bands, and static support and resistance levels, as well as dynamic support and resistance, to help really find the best ones. Yeah, I would say if you're doing something that's working fairly well for you, this will probably make it better. And I would certainly advocate, joining our live sessions so you can see kind of what we're doing, because we use trade trend as really a tool for the toolbox. It's really designed to give us really solid signals, but also we can improve on those by combining them with certain areas of support and resistance. So, yeah.
And to add on to that, it's very rare that at Metastock we see a system where you can really back test it thoroughly. But on top of the, with the portfolio architect, I mean, the testing that you're able to do, it's incredible. And now having the ability to actually watch you guys use it live, that's pretty unique. So
yeah,
I'm glad you guys are doing the live sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we really just scratched the surface. I mean, we've only have an hour tonight, and this is more of an introduction to kind of make you guys aware of these tools. But we go way deeper in our live sessions where we really get into different, and those are interactive too, by the way. So our members are able to, look at specific stocks or ETFs or Forex pairs or whatever they're trading. We can do that in our live sessions, which of course we don't really have time to do on these when we have so many people on, and we're just trying to really introduce the tool and show you what it's all about. So.
Sure, and that's what really drives it home. 9 hours of the recorded training from you, Jeff. I mean, that obviously shows people how to use the tools. You can have the best tools out there, but if you don't know how to use them, it's not going to do you any good. But again, with these live trading sessions, really watching the masters at work, that's pretty exciting. Next question: what markets does Trade Trend work on?
Well, it can be applied to any market in any time frame. So the nice thing about the Metastock platform is you can actually screen a basket of stocks or Forex pairs or futures contracts, whatever you trade, and determine that for yourself. And that's actually how I approach it. So market conditions are always changing, and we've designed the algo to the best of our ability to adapt to those. But to take it a step further, you really want to run a scan across a basket of securities. So like if you're trading the NASDAQ 100s or the NYSEs, or you're trading the CBOEs or the E-minis or whatever, you really want to run that scan and backtest in that basket that you're looking at, or maybe you have your own custom watch list. And Metastock will allow you to do that and determine that for yourself. So it wouldn't really be fair for me to say that it works better on one or another, because we've really designed it to work across all timeframes and securities. But you can take it a step further with the Portfolio Architect tool and the Metastock platform, and run some scans and back tests, figure out the best time. I mean, the variables in trading are so diverse, and that's where these tools really make a big difference. And I can say that firsthand. If you just apply one indicator or one tool to all markets, you're probably going to have pretty erratic results. Really, the people we see that have the best results and the biggest difference in their trading, and really turn things around where they're struggling to, okay, now I got it, this is actually consistent and making sense, and are the ones that hone in on things like best day to trade, best time to trade. They're using a tool that keeps them on the right side of the market most of the time, and not only that, on any market time frame. There's a lot of methodologies out there that work very well in very specific conditions, but ultimately they don't work well, because once that specific condition changes, the system or the strategy fails. Now, we've designed, based on the methodology, being that it's momentum and trend based, it's going to mostly keep you out of the market when there's not a trend in place, and it will get you in when there's a potential momentum shift or trend developing. And that's huge. You need to have a tool like that on board to keep you out of the market when conditions aren't favorable, and get you in when they are. And then on top of that, you can take it a step further with Portfolio Architect and determine the best days and times. So it's a very complex question to answer, but that's my best response that I can provide. And I would say that there is really no limits to time frame or the security that you can use it on.
Great. Let's see here. I don't think we have any other questions. Let's see, there is actually one other one. So you can look at specific stocks and it automatically shows you when to buy and sell using FAST system?
Yeah, so our FAST system is a different package, but yeah, it's basically incorporates our trade trend algorithm, which is if the member that asked that question, if they're already in the FAST program that we offer, then they likely already have trade trend, and they would just want to look at adding the portfolio architect tool.
Okay, perfect. It looks like those are all the questions that we have here. Once again, to take advantage of this offer, and it really is time sensitive since they are going to be doing these 2 live trading sessions. Metastock.com/sales chat or 1-800-882-3040. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have out on the audience. Jeff, Daniel, you guys have been awesome. This was a great webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah, always a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Daniel, for joining.
Yes, it's been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, the Portfolio Architect, it's a unique tool and it's really awesome. It's unlike anything else we have. So really, really excited that they got on board with Jeff and they're doing some great work over there. So once again, the offer, you get a year of trade trend add-on, a year of Portfolio Architect, 9 hours of recorded training from Jeff Tompkins, 2 live trading sessions with Jeff and Daniel where they're going to be trading the live market using these 2 different systems. This well over retails, or rather it retails well over $4,000 right now. We'll do it for $997. So big discount for you guys out there in the audience. Make sure you take advantage of this very quickly so that we can get those live sessions scheduled and get the invite out to you. 800-882-3040, metastock.com/sales chat. Yes, so the link to take advantage of the offer, just go to metastock.com/sales chat. Have a couple of people asking what the link is. Everybody, thanks you and Daniel, Jeff and Daniel for the presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you all for attending so much, and we hope to hear from you soon, and happy trading.